So those who saw Judas and the Black Messiah can now understand how this happened with Malcolm X. How the FBI and the police assassinated Malcolm X. Now, a bunch of Cointelpro disinfo, they want to turn you to the other direction. A bunch of wasted time protesters would just try to marginalize it and just say it's the white supremacy. Or say it's just some J. Edgar Hoover just not liking certain people. Oh no. See, you should have been new. When you see in their own COINTEL documents, one of the rules is to prevent the rise of a messiah who could unify and electrify the militant black nationalist movement. Malcolm X might have been such a messiah. He is the martyr of the movement today. See, one of their rules was to neutralize the next black messiah, neutralize movements. What happened to Malcolm X? He was neutralized. So in understanding that, then you would go, well, dang, this is the first suspect right here. But no, nobody wants to do that. You want to be told what direction to go. You want to believe the stupid old stuff. It's just like when Martin Luther King got assassinated. You know, the FBI sent him a suicide letter, told him to kill himself, and then he ends up dead. So then the first thing you would think, if you're a sober-minded person, hey, you know, maybe the person who told him to kill himself is probably the number one suspect in this. Maybe we should look into that. But instead of that thought, it isn't at all. Like in a general viewpoint, and in the general public, that's not the viewpoint. That's not the way people think. Because they just go along to get along. And this is how this stuff continues to happen. No, that's not the case. We all know. No, you don't. You don't act like it. Every year, we have a Martin Luther King Day. We celebrate his birthday. Some even as a holiday, a whole weekend. And what? Do we bring this up? Do they bring it up on CNN? Is Anderson Cooper keeping people honest? Nope. Just go along. Say it was a racist person that did it or something like that. That ain't good enough. We need to stick to the facts here. And the facts. We got here Raymond Wood. He made a confession. And you better believe we're going to go through this letter if somebody's confessing. So we already know COINTELPRO went on. So we already know the number one suspects for Malcolm X being killed is the FBI. Point blank, period. But this confession, it just adds more to the understanding. He says, Raymond A. Wood, being of sound mind and body, wished to confess the following. Meaning he ain't crazy. He letting y'all know. And he wanted this to be put out after he was dead. Because he didn't want to face detrimental consequences. But let's read exactly what he said. He said he was a black New York City undercover police officer from April 1964 through May 1971. And that's where on paper that they have that they were running that COINTELPRO program. Even though they're still doing it now, you will see even black Americans pushing flat earth and other disinfo, COINTELPRO disinfo. I participated in actions that in hindsight were deplorable and detrimental to the advancement of my own black people. My actions on behalf of the New York City Police Department, BOSSy, were done under duress and fear that if I did not follow the orders of my handlers, I could face detrimental consequences. Presently, I am aging with failing health. Recently, I have learned of the death of Mr. Thomas Johnson and are deeply concerned with my death. His family will not be able to exonerate him after being wrongly convicted in the killing of Malcolm X. Wrongly convicted. The facts are as follows. And before we do that, he worked with the what? BOSSy. Remember Beyonce wanted to ban BOSSy? No. We're talking about a different BOSSy. Bossy, or the Red Squad, surveilled Malcolm X. Bossy was effectively a police unit made over as a spy ring. One of its agents boasts how he knew Malcolm X's habits so well that they switch on their wiretap on the second ring when Malcolm would always pick up, so he wouldn't hear the click. Tony, one of the wryly unapologetic bossy officers in the series, confesses, "I don't think he understood that we were tapping his wire and listening to the tapes. Did we intrude into privacy? Yes. But I was all right with it." See how they go? If Malcolm spoke before a broader audience, then FBI agents, all white, could attend. If not, they found black men in the streets and met them in movie theaters to arrange the surveillance or to trade information. So we've seen that in Judas and the Black Messiah, but it's not just a movie, it's a real thing. It's just a display of what they did. And a lot of that other stuff we don't even know. But if we have this information, it better be highlighted. It better be understood, because the people in the news, they're never going to act as if it happened this way. Meaning the FBI doesn't have as much credibility as you would think. Especially like when they're talking about the Russian investigation, or when they're coming out talking about, oh, we going after the white supremacy. Oh, really? Because I do recall you ranking black identity extremists a bigger threat than Al-Qaeda. Leaked documents. Yeah, this is the stuff they did. Oh, new terrorism guide shows FBI still classifying black extremists as domestic terrorism threat, even though they want to call them now racially or ethnically motivated violent extremism. Yeah, but the last time you did that, you killed Martin Luther King and you got Malcolm X killed. You didn't even get a slap on the wrist. What happened to you? Did people really investigate you? No. You're being propped up as the guy who's going to come in and save the day. But back to this confession. The facts are as follows. April 17, 1964. I was hired by the New York City Police Department. Without training, I was immediately assigned to the Bossy Investigation Unit. So the man wasn't even trained. My job was to infiltrate civil rights organizations throughout New York City to find evidence of criminal activity so the FBI could discredit and arrest its leaders. Ooh, it's a nasty job. Some of y'all act like that's not even a real thing. Okay, let's keep going. After witnessing repeated brutality at the hands of my co-workers, police, I tried to resign. Instead, I was threatened with arrest by pinning marijuana and alcohol trafficking charges on me if I did not follow through with the assignments. Oh, well, dang. Blackmail. Under the direction of my handlers, I was told to encourage leaders and members of civil rights groups to commit felonious acts. He said that the Statue of Liberty bombing idea was created by his handler, his supervisor. Using surveillance, the agency learned that Bo and Saeed were key players in Malcolm X's crowd control security detail. It was his assignment to draw the two men into felonious federal crimes so that they could be arrested by the FBI and kept away from managing Malcolm X at the ballroom door on February 21st, 1965. On February 16th, the Statue of Liberty plot was carried out and the men were arrested just days before the assassination of Malcolm. At that time, I was not aware that Malcolm X was a target. On February 21st, 1965, he was ordered to be at the Audubon Ballroom, where he was identified by witnesses while leaving the scene. Thomas Johnson was later arrested and wrongfully convicted to protect his cover and the secrets of the FBI and NYPD. Remember that. Somebody else was arrested and the cover was protected. He placed his full confession in the care of his cousin, Reginald Wood Jr., and have requested that this information be held until after he passed away. He's carried these secrets with a heavy heart and remorsefully regret his participation. And then he signed his name. Well, dang, Joker. But I thought the Nation of Islam and all this other stuff and all this other misinformation the FBI put out to throw you down the wrong path. Like, why would anybody in their right mind trust the FBI knowing this information? Redsilverj, all I gotta say.